Well, I've never seen a 65 watt amplifier be this small. And I was surprised by three things while using this little amp, and one thing that sort of let me down. But most importantly, why did I decide to actually buy this amplifier? And should you do the same? Now, this little SMSL DA-1 amplifier was sent to me on loan by Apos Audio. And the minute I opened up the box, I couldn't believe how small it was. Now, according to SMSL, this little amplifier rates at 65 watts per channel into 4 ohms using the TP8-3118 amp chip and costs just $50 on Amazon. Now, neither Apos nor SML have a say in my review on this video, and that probably makes sense because this is one of the simplest pieces of gear that I have ever reviewed. It's so simple. All you do is you plug one set of speakers here and one set there. You've got one RCA input source here. There's your power supply input. You've got an on and off button that you easily click there and a volume knob. It really is that simple. So if it's this simple, how could I find three things that surprised me while using this? And what was the one minor issue that I found? Let's jump into those next. Now, the first thing that surprised me about the DA-1 is simply its small size and the amount of power it can still output. My wife is so ready for me to be done reviewing this product because every time I power it on, I make the same bad joke, which is simply, what is this, an amplifier for ants? I just can't help but think about Zoolander every time I power this guy on. It really is so small, I can fit it in a sandwich bag and take it to work for lunch. Now, one of the other nice things I like about this is due to its small size, you can easily fit the SMSL SU1 DAC, one of my other favorite entry-level pieces of gear, right on top of it. If you follow me on Instagram, which is just at Forever Analog over there, I posted a picture of that stack next to the Smile CD just to give you a comparison of really how small this stack is. But the good news is, due to its small size, you can place it almost anywhere. I mean, you could put this in a small office, you could put it on your desktop, you could put it in your bedroom. It will fit anywhere. Now, even though this is small in size, it still packs a lot of power, 65 watts into 4 ohms. Now, SML doesn't give a rating at 8 ohms, but maybe we'll get lucky and someone out there will measure it and provide that for us. But don't worry, it has plenty of power. I barely turned the volume knob up a quarter turn, and it's already too loud for my small listening space with my Klipsch Heresy speakers. Now, if you have some harder to drive speakers, you may have to turn that knob up a little higher than I did, but I really think you won't have any trouble powering a pair of bookshelf or desktop speakers with this amp. The second thing that surprised me about this amplifier is its low price of just $50. $50 for this amplifier. That's the equivalent of 2 brand new vinyl records or just skipping Starbucks for a week. I really thought this would be priced closer to $100, but there's a few reasons why I think it's more affordable. First, there's no remote control with this unit. There's no built-in Bluetooth connectivity, so you're going to need to pair it with a Wii Mini or a DAC with streaming capabilities. There's no easy subwoofer output on the rear, and you can't connect it as a monoblock or anything like fancy like that, as some of these other Class D amplifiers are allowing for today. It's just simply a 2-channel amplifier. Now, the main reason I'm really excited about this price point is because, along with making YouTube videos, I also sell records at pop-up shows, record shows, vintage clothing shows on the weekends, and I'm often interacting with young people that are just trying to build their first audio system, and they're frustrated with the amount of money they think they have to spend. I'm excited because now I could just tell them to simply look up the DA-1 amplifier at just $50. That's going to take their listening to a whole new level. It's going to help them graduate from that Crosley suitcase player and really start to build their own stereo system at a very affordable price. And more importantly, that's going to get them hooked into the hobby, and hopefully they will want to upgrade that stereo gear with time and money. The final thing that surprised me with this amplifier was the sound. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about a $50 amplifier, so we're not talking about how great it sounds overall. We're talking more about how impressive it sounds at that $50 price point. To be honest with you, I had a pricing bias and I thought there is no way a $50 amplifier like this can sound good, and it turns out I was wrong. Now, the amp does have some audio shortcomings, mostly in the soundstage production, where it can be a little thin and not as dynamic as some of the Class D amplifiers, like the Fozzy BT20A Pro or the IEMA A07. It also doesn't have an easy connection for a sub. However, I still found the bass reproduction to be adequate and even musical. Now, let's be honest, if you have bought a $50 amplifier, you are not buying it for critical listening, okay? So I didn't judge it from a critical listening standpoint. I mostly just wanted to see if it sounded horrible, and it didn't. It was fun to listen to for the last couple of weeks that I've had it. Now, if you're someone that has a Fozzy Audio product or IEMA or Duke Audio and you've spent a couple $100s on those, I'm not suggesting you run out and get rid of those and buy the DA-1 instead. This is really an entry-level product, and it's here to reproduce sound, but it's not in a way to do it so that you can sit around and critically listen to it. But if you just want something to get music playing and it doesn't sound horrible, the DA-1 at $50 is a really good bargain. Now, all that to say, there is one minor issue that I came across while using this amplifier. And at first, I didn't even notice it. That's how small this issue is. But simply put, if you put your ear up very close to your speakers while this unit is powered on without music playing, please don't have music playing with your ears that close to the speakers. But if you get that close and listen, you can hear a hiss sound. Now, I really only notice this when I crank the amp all the way up, and then I can hear the hiss through my speakers. But again, I have to put my ear all the way up to the speaker in order to hear it. I can't hear it from my listening chair across the room, and I could never hear it while listening to music. The only reason I bring it up is because if you were to use these with use this amp with speakers that might be very close to you, say on a desktop experience, when the music is done playing, you may kind of hear that hiss fill in the background. So it's just something that I wanted to point out. But again, when I'm just regularly playing music and sitting across the room, it was never something that interfered with the overall musical playback of the amp. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Apos Audio sent me this as a loaner to review and then to send back to them when I'm done. And I actually emailed them and asked them, can I buy this amplifier? And you may be wondering, why in the world would I want to buy this little amp? Well, here are a few reasons. Now, the first reason is because this little amplifier would be a great backup for whenever my vintage receivers are potentially in the shop for repair. If you own vintage audio, you know at some point they're going to be repaired. And it's always nice to have a backup. Vintage repair takes forever. Everyone is so backed up. So it's always nice to have an option on hand for when a vintage piece is in the shop. Now, speaking of shops, I also think this little amplifier would be great in my garage workshop where I don't want to have something super expensive out there. I just need music playback that sounds good. This would work perfectly out there. Also, this would be a great little amp to take to my office at work, where I'm currently using the Shit Wrecker, which is just a 2-watt Class AB amp for my desktop music playback in my office. Now, that's a good question. Will the DA-1 replace the Shit Wrecker in my office for music playback? That's actually a good video idea. Hopefully something that I can make here in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that result. And lastly, everyone knows me as an audio guy. All my friends and family, they're always asking me if they can borrow a piece of gear for music playback at either a party, a birthday party for their kids, or some wedding shower, some sort of event. It doesn't need a lot of power, like a big PA system, just some music playing somewhere. This would be a great little amp to loan them because it's so easy to use. It's also an awesome amplifier for newcomers, and it gives me the ability to show them and say, look, $50, you're gonna have a great little amplifier that can get you up and running with sound that's gonna sound better than your Crosley turntable or perhaps the starter system that you currently have. And it's ultra affordable for newcomers into the audio. I mean, like, look, just skip Starbucks for a week and you can buy this $50 amplifier and immediately start to hear your music in a much more intriguing way. I am continually surprised at how small and yet still how powerful these little Class D amplifiers have become. And I understand they are not for everyone. There's plenty of people that are watching this video that simply do not like these Class D amplifiers, but I do think that they serve some purpose for users, as I've mentioned in this video. Now, if you are interested in an amplifier in this price range, but you want to spend a little bit more and make sure you get Bluetooth connectivity, then check out this video I made about the Fozzy Audio BT20A Pro, one of my favorite Class D amplifiers that was released last year. I think it would be a great option for you if you're looking for an amp with Bluetooth connectivity.